Yes, we have to pray.
Okay, Tuti, lead us in prayer, please. Morning prayer.
No, you're the one praying.
The good thing I'm a moderator, so I'm guiding you through the whole process. Yes.
Okay, let's humble ourselves and pray. Father, we thank you so much for this day. Thank you for everyone who's going to attend the meeting, for those that are going to join us later. We give you thanks that our ideas that we put into this table will be by your word, will be by your blessing, will be before you, O Lord. May we always come out with the best ideas, and may the ideas that we put on table come to life. May we not just discuss and go away. May we discuss and put and bring things to life. We thank you, we glorify you, we give you all the honor and all the glory in the mighty name of God.
Amen. Okay, thank you, Tuti. From last week, the topic I was asked to moderate for, I don't know what reason, clearly has been was clientele maintenance and growing of clients. From my point of view, ideally, since I ran out on my own 2 feet to say, I think I've been blessed, I believe, with friends and family. That was the first thing I ever talked to, people I talked to, close friends and family. Hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And yeah, 90% of, let's say, family is still there with me, are still my clients, 90%. The other 10%, I think they moved countries or they become vegetarian. So ideally, demographic kind of change. So, in your own perspectives, I do have my small points here I have, but I would like it to be more of an engaging kind of discussion, so that each one of us can try to amplify the other's points or bring new points in the whole perspective of maintaining clientele that you have and trying to pierce through the ever static market, but growing marketeers, I guess. So hands up, people. Talk to me. Tell me what's up. Talk to us. Mark, I'm sure you have something to say.
Of course I do. Unfortunately, I'm looking again for this button that says raise hands, and I can't see it.
Yeah, I also can't see it.
So I'll just say something small. Yes, I also started out, as I said in the very beginning of this thing, my culinary journey started many years ago, but the commercial one started in 2000. And my first customer, I remember, was my brother Simon. In fact, I came to his house and I found he had invited people to cook because he had a party going on. And I really didn't like the way the pork was being handled. So I stepped in, cooked it, and I got paid. It was in money equivalent of a few bottles of beer, but it was at least money. And everyone at the place encouraged me to start doing it, to make money out of it. And yes, over the years, for me, the family has grown bigger because guys have gotten married and blah, blah, blah. But the clientele from the family has actually shrunk. I don't know how you're managing it, Moses. But one of the things that I have consistently insisted on in my journey is my word is my bond. When I say I'll be there at 1 o'clock, I will be there at 1 o'clock. If I see that I'm going to have a problem with being there at 1 o'clock, my first option is to go and cook on site, so that by 1 o'clock, either I'm ready and there or almost ready, but at least I'm there. And that has helped me keep to retain many of my customers. Of course, believe it or not, along the way, I have trained too many human beings that many of them have found their own paths in life, and they've, been contacted by clients who call me complaining, and I say, but I don't know what you're talking about. Then those ones eventually come back because they know here at Just Barbecue, we make a promise and we try to deliver on it. So for me, my client retention and growth is basically because my word is my bond. I keep my word. I'm there when I say I'll be there. I deliver what I say I'll deliver. And we try to keep it almost consistent, although we switch out menus here and there. I don't like to serve you the same thing. If you like my pork today, yes, but we can also do pork in a different way. So I make suggestions with my clients, and it's up to them to decide what option they'll go with. Back to you, Moses.
Thank you. Tuti, I know you think you have given me a few days of teaching, but when it comes to your kitchen, as in Kiyungu down here on Kamocha Street, is that Kamocha Street? I think. I hope so. How is it that you have handled it, and how are you trying to maintain the clientele that you have? Do you throw in freebies? What do you think is one of your prime points that you use to maintain your clientele?
Thank you, Moses. Now, one I've noticed that I still maintain my old clients. New clients would come and say, oh, this taste is different. I don't understand this, but I have maintained my old.
Tuti, you're a bit low. I can't hear you.
Abid, are you using a phone?
Where more la Tuti?
Dancing to Muwa, no, no.
Go on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I was saying, I still have the clients that I started with because I think they understood my test right from the beginning. I am still having a bit of trouble getting, new clients on board, and it's a bit, they don't understand the taste. They find it hard. But one thing I usually do is I make sure I change up like if I'm doing outside catering, I'm changing up my taste of the food. I'm trying to, make it look different. Every time it appears to them, there's something new, there's something different. The tastes are different. And, the client will be like, oh, I want like how you did it the last time, or I want the previous time. So it helps you know what taste that specific client would want. For the walk-ins, it's still also people who have tasted the food before. Now, I can give an example with my chicken. I put a mustard dressing on the outside of the chicken, but some people really find it so hard. They say like, oh, it's too strong, it's too tangy, and the other is like, it's too sweet because I add a little bit of brown sugar. They say it's too sweet. So yeah, they find a bit of issues with that. So maintaining the walk-ins has been a little bit tricky, but I definitely still have the ones who understand the food. So I need to know how to, work with the new clients that I'm going to have, especially the ones who are walk-ins and then the ones who are. I haven't had really a lot of issues with catering, outside catering, but mainly the walk-ins into the restaurant. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I tried to go through some YouTube links on few guys how they do it. These are, how do they call them, professional speakers, motivational speakers, and what, and well, they have done the business end of it all. And one was talking about trying to over deliver in terms of when you're giving the product. And in my sense, first thing I ran to was over deliver. Instead of giving 1 kilo, I give 1.5. That is going to be injuring to what my my cost of production and savings and all that. However, he took it to another level. It's like you don't have to over deliver, especially in quantity and in what you provide. Sometimes, just give something else. Just give an extra salad. I don't have to be the extra kilogram of meat and all that. And so, what do you think, Abid? What do you think on this point when it comes to over delivering? Does it have to be? What other ways do you think we could over deliver in our industry of food? Not talking about the other IT thing of yours.
When you talk about those professional motivational speakers, I remember that thing that was going around on the internet of the guy who said, "I started my restaurant with 1 grain of rice." And I laughed. With over delivering, sometimes I see it like instead of delivering just what is enough. I used to do this a lot, especially the catering gigs. I would agree something with the customer. We agree the rate, we agree the menu, and then I start adding there a lot of extra things just to make them happier. And this, as much as it retained the customer for me, there's a client I think I've done all their catering, their birthday gigs in the family, like for the last 5, 6, 7 years. It meant, there are parts that it meant I got tired quickly. So find that you could only over-deliver for one client, and then for the rest, you're giving them the normal stuff. Yet clients talk to each other a lot, and then they're like, "But Abid gave me this for that amount. He added in honey glazed ribs, added in a chef's salad at 30,000, and for you saying he didn't." That person now would feel like it's a problem, and that was. I did not know that at the time. These days, I try to stick to whatever I would have agreed of as much as possible. Yeah, and I remember when at least my experience with getting clients in the beginning, when I started out with Plow Friday, was that my support, of course, my initial support base were my friends and family. But afterwards, getting other people on board became a problem. I think I've expanded too fast. That was the issue at the time. We moved from maybe having 30 orders to receiving 100 orders, and we couldn't handle more than 40. Yet we were advertising to 1,000 people. Mark has his hand up.
Yes, thank you. What you've just talked about, Moses and Abid, is quite interesting. Over delivering. I wouldn't call it over delivering, but I would call it nyongeza. That is a very interesting way of retaining a customer. I remember recently a client of mine whose wedding I catered for, and I've done 3 events of theirs ever since. She called me up when she saw I posted some pork butts that I was selling, and she said, "Listen, our event is this weekend. Why don't you throw in 2 pork butts?" I said, "No problem." I sent her the bill. Of course, she accepted the bill. But then 2 days to the event, she calls me up and says, "Now we need an extra salad. What are the chances you can add a salad?" So I said, "Hi, it's a bit too late for me to start replanning this thing, but let's see what we can do. Besides, you have enough food." And of course, come the day of the event, I threw in the salad at no extra cost. I am sure now that I've done all these events of theirs, I have a very strong feeling that the next 3 are in the bag for me, just because I threw in an extra salad, I accommodated the extra pork butts, the extra order. But as Abid says, guys talk to each other. So you need to be a bit careful how much extra you throw in, unless you're going to find a way of incorporating it in the cost. But then that would become cheating. If you put it in before and then throw it in after, somebody might not. I mean, for me, it would be unethical. It just sounds like you're overcharging the customer, but sounds like a good idea. Back to you, Moses.
Thank you, thank you.
Maybe,
So, oh, I see Nikki was.
maybe Mark,
Oh,
what you're saying. I was thinking maybe if you're doing extra orders, those extra over delivering, you can make it sort of like an offer or like a sort of an unofficial nyongeza. Like people know if you have, like if somebody has ordered for a catering event and they are paying over maybe 7 million, you shall be able to throw in something extra, maybe the juice for free or something like that, such that when they talk to other people, they sort of know that it was triggered by something else. Other if it's random, some guys may think, so the people you like, you give them extra stuff, and that's us you don't like, you don't. Anyway, Moses, back to you.
yeah.
Alternative, you
I
could
feel
just make
comes
it a
with.
standard. Even if it's a small order, you just throw in a bowl of chips or something. I don't know. It's never put on the menu, but
Yeah.
then when you're serving, it just comes as a standard.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and there's always that blowback of fenga totua, you know. There's there's always that. However, I want to move on quickly. I see Nikki's back raising hand. Who? Mark, was you raising hand or you were raising your hand for Nikki? Or Nikki was raising hand?
No, I was raising my hand because I couldn't find the button.
Okay. For me now, I can
And
raise
Nikki's
my hand.
back because the last time we kept calling Nikki.
No, guys, sorry, I'm actually Rose. It's just that I it was just named as Nikki, and I'm mostly listening in because I'm in route to a funeral, but so I may not participate as everyone is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'd say on what you're discussing is that for us, what we mostly do is that if we've agreed with the client, let's say we're catering for 100 people, we'll give you an extra 5 plates, yeah, and that will not be charged like on the outside catering. But in the restaurants, most of these they will expect it every time they come. If you've given them a scoop of mayonnaise, they'll want that every time they come, and if you don't provide it, of course, it's going to be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for outside catering, we always throw in this or that. Sometimes it's not costing you much, like a salad. If it's not maybe a garden salad, like kachumbari, a salsa, it's not costing you too much. And you realize they didn't order it, and maybe most of the food is dry, and it's not going to reflect very well on you. So we will most of the time throw in something.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Moving on. Thank you very much. If anyone wants to just jump in, please jump in again and just say something. There's something that Mark talked about, and this was of you, the point of being a cheat, of like in case of this, and you're just trying to circumlocate the Kaholka point and trying to be more of a modest defrauder, ideally. So it brings up the point of authenticity and transparency. I think the other thing that a point in which we need to take into consideration for keeping clients is being transparent. I like it when I get orders online and you're just interacting online with the client, but I have a policy of new clients, especially for me, who have been brought through references, and they come online and say, hey, could you please, what do you see, do this and that. I'm like, okay, can I call you? I would like to talk to the clients and get the feel of them. I believe talking to someone is you get the vibe easier than the WhatsApp and all this. That way you talk to the person to person, because this is no longer now business to business. Now it's not business to customer. It's human to human. That is how I see it. And when you talk to someone, you get their feel and the vibe, and even if they're kind of stringent, you can convince someone when you talk to them. So authenticity and transparency is key. This one I learned from Mark. Mark should give us a hint on this. I believe the transparency bit is actually quite important. Oh, okay. Oh, the bell. All right, fine. Yeah. Come on, jump in.
Yes, I had my hand raised. I wanted to talk about two things, if you don't mind. Rose talked about throwing in extra plates if you have an order for 100 and you make 105 plates. In my experience, there are a few things that I learned and noticed about customers. And I tell them, also talking about your transparency, Moses, if you order with me for 100 plates for an event, I sit down and discuss with you a bit further, because you may have invited 100 people and then 10 of those come with drivers, 15 come with kids, 12 come with wives. So the number is not really 100. So then the problem arises when I serve 105 plates and then you say, food wasn't enough. Of course, food wasn't enough because you were 160. So I have to discuss with you, then you go back and find out from your people how many guys they're coming with. Then you come with a realistic figure and we're all in a better place. So that is the transparency and authenticity as well, on top of the extra. But of course, 160, you still throw in a few plates. And clients will never tell you. For them, they've said, I have 200 guests, please serve 200. You get there, and they're 250. What do? You can't go back to the kitchen. You can't go to them and say, Kachidaba. You even brought 205 plates to make it worse. So then 10 people have to eat, then you rush and wash plates to make sure that they're enough. So all that is a discussion.
I have a question for Mark.
Yes.
I've catered for an event before where we took food to the venue. It was actually at their house, right? It was for about 70 people. But we got there and they had about 200 people. Yeah. So obviously you've taken 75 plates for the extra 5. But then these guys are bringing all the dishes and whatever they have in the house to eat. So after you serve the 75, are you supposed to like just clear the place? Do you let them have the food that stayed in case people served little? Like, what do you do? Because first of all, you're also trying to avoid looking bad because a lot of the meats are done.
Yes, this has happened to me before. And as I said, you have the discussion before and you explain to them that, yes, you're saying 70 people, but in my experience, you're going to have 100. You're going to have 150. So let's be realistic. Now, of course, you're not Jesus. So if you've brought 75 plates and there are 200 people, 125 people are not going to have a lunch or dinner. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can give them alternatives. Let's call KFC. This is the cost. But they've asked you for 75 plates, so 70, you've delivered 75. You have held up your end of the bargain. And also on the other, even if they ask for 75 plates and only 20 people showed up, I leave them their food. I never take food back. I tell you that you guys, the food you paid for is here. Otherwise, what if they ask me to refund for the plates unconsumed? So what you order for is what I give you, but I make sure I have that discussion with you beforehand. I don't want to surprise you order for 200 people, then suddenly there are 500. There's just no way.
Clients are not as transparent as we are learning to be. They lie, and they know it.
We are not Jesus. Unless I suggesting that you're going to serve them, you're going to charge them for 300 plates, and then if they only consume 75, none the wiser.
I have a small experience.
So you have to serve them after having the thorough discussion. Serve them what they've asked for. If they are more than that, I'm sorry. I mean, sometimes you have to disappoint.
I have a client, the one I did the brunch thing on Sunday. Last year. He called me for baptism, and I was catering at the baptism of his twins. And he called me for a small event. He said, Moses, this is about 60 people. So I'm like, okay, 60, I get 70 people ideally. 70 people, by the time I was done serving the 70 plates, because he told me 60, I brought 70 plates. There are over another 70 people who had not yet eaten. So I pulled him to the side and told him, boss, this is what has happened. You told me 60, I ordered for 70, basically 8. Even the plates of the house, they have used them ideally. So I do not know how we're going to do this. But this is now where the point of over-delivering comes in. Because he's my client for a long time, I told him, do this. Get me X, Y, Z, and give me another 2 hours. I am cooking from here. I will cater to the other 70. He did that, and he added an extra nice amount of money. I was supposed to be there for 4 hours. I spent a good 8, 10 hours. But this always happens, especially with clients. Now, when it came for his branch, he was like, we're going to be about 15. I told him, the last time, remember what happened? He's like, yes, make it 30. I catered for 30, and they came 20, about 20, but I left all the food there. He's like, hey, mate, so it is good to be talk to the client. I think talking to them is, because like you said, Mark, we're not Jesus. The food is done. There's nothing else I'm supposed to do about it. So how you talk to them and level with them and let them understand what is on ground. I guess everyone is different, but yeah, I prefer to talk to people. Anyone else has something to input?
Also, Rose, back to what I was saying. The reason why I prefer to cook from the client's venue is exactly that, because I will see the people coming in and I walk and say, listen, these are not 70 people. If they're all eating here, yongera nyama wano. But when I'm at my house here in Nigeria and the place is Gaba, unlike Moses, I'm not a miracle worker. Sorry.
I do not know consistency, keeping a client consistency. Unfortunately, I would like to talk about this myself. I do not want to make the same thing again and again and again and again and again. So I have a few clients that I've managed to keep because I was actually not consistent. I do things mostly depending on how I feel, unfortunately. But these clients that are like, Moses, you've done that 3 times. No, I don't want it. What else have you done? Like, try something new. It's okay. You will let me know. I will tell you what it tastes like. Do this, but I want it new. And I'm like, yes. And I've managed to keep those clients, and they're big clients, and because I am not consistent most times. Then there are these ones of like, boss, akanyama karuli, kali ka mulembe nnyo. I also have that one client who is like, the pork you did the other time is the same pork I want today. And because of I documented it, I still remember the pork that I did. Who gave me the meat? What cut? What it was? So consistency is a double-edged sword on my end. I do not know about you guys. Floor is open.
Well, it's good for you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
I'm the only one on video for some reason.
Gwe mulungi.
Anyway, I just wanted to contribute to what Moses had said previously about consistency. The reason why clients go away is because they get bored with the same menu. I'm a baker primarily, but I also do catering for small functions like cocktails and brunches and breakfasts and things like that. But also the client sometimes wants a particular thing. Like as Moses said, he can say that, I really liked the way you did maybe the pork, but if you're maintaining the same menu, it kind of gets boring. So if there's a particular item or items that the customer wants, you can switch it up to keep it interesting. Like you use the same recipe for maybe the pork that he wanted, but then you change up the sides. If you did a coleslaw salad last time, maybe do a pasta salad this time, or like something different. That way the customer will have the same but different experience from your product. That's my submission.
Thank you.
Moses, you mentioned something there I noticed I have a weakness in. I do not document my cooking. So sometimes I get a client who calls me like, Abid, 2 years ago, remember at my kid's baptism or something like this, you made this pork, I want it again. And I'm like, I remember the event, I don't remember what I cooked. Like, I want that one exactly. I'm like, Actually, I have somebody who keeps talking about that. I'm like, I don't know what to do for you. I do not document my cooking, but something that I really want.
This documenting of my cooking, I started it like about 2 months ago, man. It has not been ever since. It is fresh and it is working for me somehow.
To do that.
Moses, I'm surprised you said you started this 2 months ago, because all the times we cook together, we've had those recipes written down, and we have books where these things are.
We have books as we, but me as me. I'm talking about me as me. Now, of course, I can come back to you and say, Mark, katabokali, mpiteite in this X, Y, and Z. But for me as me, my friend. But of course, I know I have my basic recipes that I don't have to go back to anything. I just know exactly what I need to do.
But Barbara said something interesting when she said you switch out the sides. If the customer wants that thing, have you thought about taste testing? Taste testing, I find to be a very good thing. I like to invite people over to my house once in a while for taste testing. If that client is always talking about pork ribs, it is the one called it a pork ribs.
How do I get to
one day when you're making another type of rib, pardon? You just call him or her over and give them a rib to taste. You never know, they might change their mind and they stop staying in 2012 when they ate some rib they liked so much. Back to you, Moses.
Unfortunately, Pablo hasn't joined.
Mark, can I say something about taste testing?
Absolutely, please.
Yes, Barbara, please. Go ahead.
Is it just me or did I lose audio?
No,
I lost audio also.
Yes. Barbara, you're saying something.
Yes, I have a question for Mark around testing, because how do you manage with that in terms of budgeting? Because do you make a testing before you build a customer? Because he might decide that he wants 4 meat items, because you gave him the opportunity to test so many things. Kati abayagala so many things, but he wants to remain his budget. How do you deal with that?
Normally I do taste testing for large orders. I do taste testing for weddings where people are going to be so many, and it's not one event of a lifetime. But then I will give you to taste pork if I want you to move away from a certain mindset that this pork rib, this pork rib, this pork rib. I will give you another taste of a rib at my own expense, and you taste it, you like it, we move ahead with it. For large events where you're paying me 10, 7, 8, 12 million shillings for food, 5 plates of the entire menu are not going to break my back. That is the truth. But if you're 50 people, I'm not going to give you the food to taste. Take it on faith. Take it on faith. I mean, you came for it. But of course, I have to ensure that I give you some nice tasting food.
That's true. So it's basically a question of numbers.
Away from something. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Mark.
Back to you, Moses.
No, okay. Oh, okay, cool. Yes, I cannot book it. Oh, there's create belonging. Okay, quick one. Does any of you have has any of you developed a business plan yet for your restaurant, for your your consultancy, your cook thing? Has anyone done a business plan for it? Because I guess there's a point whereby you should have a why and cause for your restaurant. Maybe you could help us in tackling that kind of issue. Usually, like business entities always have a why and a cause. I think my cause and why is because I like to cook. Why? Because I love to cook too. And my cause is to get something different, ideally. I've never thought about it in that sense. So I would like for someone to tackle it. That's point of, because ideally to have a mission and share it with the clients. What would be your mission? What is your mission? And I need someone who has documented, kind of mission statement for their restaurant and, consultancy, blah, blah, to come at it from a food angle. I guess that's how I would understand it. But yeah, I was just writing things. But I get the point, but I need it from a food point of view.
James, I'd expect you to jump in here. James has been setting up his grill in Entebbe. Just launched like 2 weeks ago. So for our last one,
yes, I don't have plans.
yeah?
I have plans, but I don't have traction to support.
So James,
I don't have traction to support my backing. I have a plan. I have a business plan. In fact, you should always have a business plan because it gives you direction on how to scale. If you cannot scale, if you're not scaling, you're definitely falling back. And if you keep checking your plan, it will clearly show you where you are in the business and how you can grow. I just started 2 weeks ago, so I wish I had like you people months and at least years of support. My plan has come from having worked with other people. I have seen how the failures of other people and getting misdirected has been because they never had a plan clearly documented and put down in the first place. A plan tells you who your target market is, why that is your target market, and how you will ensure you meet that person's target market. It helps you give a direction because you can't be everywhere. You cannot please everyone. You can only please a particular section. Now, if that is the case, how you develop your skill set, what is your skill set? Sometimes you might not even have the skill set to meet that plan. You might need to hire somebody to actually help you achieve that plan. So having a plan gives you a perfect roadmap, so to say, on achieving your goals. In particular, I am grilling, but to give you an example, I am targeting women. I'm trying to grill, targeting women and children. So it means that my meat has to be so tender all the time. So how do I ensure that happens? How do I ensure that the women are satisfied with what I'm serving? How do I market? How do I present myself to them? How do I attract them to my product? And how do I ensure that I retain them? Portions, tender meat, interesting sides, and good customer relations, because I feel like not many offer good customer relations. They just want to serve food and not maintain a friendship. I noticed Moses brought up that personal touch that was necessary. That is how I also work. Personal touch, I have seen the benefit of it, again, from my past experience, but past experience in other places. So I'm using that to differentiate myself from, say, Mark and Pablo or anyone who roasts meat. I'm trying to particularly attract a particular section. How I would have loved to have given you feedback on this is how far I have come, this is what I have achieved. So far, the people I have served, especially the women, have deeply appreciated the meal, and I'm hoping to keep improving. So I will give better feedback next time for sure.
Moses, for a business plan, I do this a lot. Actually, I do more business development these days than I do of cooking. But yeah, I noticed like the first time round when I did Flower Friday, I did not have a business plan. So there's no sense of direction. I also didn't know who my clients were. Like my marketing strategy was all over the place. I hadn't looked at the issues to do with delivery, to do with storage, and everything like that. But a business plan, given that you have been operating, this would actually be a good time to set up your business plan because you understand your business right now, you understand your customers, and you also have a good idea of where you want to go, where your business is. Of course, my service is available at a fee. I can help with this in case you want to have a chat.
But Abid, now we.
What? But I could do a smaller template and just post it in the group for a business plan. But obviously with each business, it is different because different people have different things they want to focus on and also different visions that they have. Like James going for women, I would ask him why he chose that in particular. And some of the things you need to do a bit of surveys to back it up to see that where you're going is what you want to is actually viable. Back
Can
to
I
you,
say something?
Mark wants
Hello?
to say something. Mark, say something. Mark,
Yes.
go on.
Business plan. I have not had a business plan and I'm in 20 years down the road. However, for the next one, I'm actually planning on writing one. I hope when Abid shares his, I can align and see that I'm on the right track. But I just want to ask James, when you say you're targeting women with interesting sides, what does that mean? Tender meat and interesting sides. What do you mean by that? Men don't like tender meat and men
Anti
don't like sides?
kusaidia kuhipa, kusaidia kuhipa.
So, anyway, maybe to answer Mark and Abid, I like that perhaps sharing people who are in the business will best appreciate or will best correct me or approve me. I'm not sure which it will be. When it comes, I'm particularly focused on pork. Of course, I do offer chicken as well, but I'm particularly focused on pork, and I particularly wanted, in a way, aligned with Pablo because Pablo wants to maximize a pig. I found that a pig can be explored in very many different ways, and you can best appreciate it. But when people want to have pork, we always go to our pork joints to have our pork. We all have our different pork joints, and we appreciate it. But I never see mothers and children going to pork joint. Rarely. In fact, never. Never in my usual joint, I never find the kids there. So I came to appreciate that people, we have not explored the other side of where can't the women appreciate this? Can children also go and eat pork? It was my father who took me to a pork joint, so to say, but my mother has never been to a pork joint. So my mother will never go to a pork joint. My wife would never appreciate going to a pork joint. So I came to now see that there is another side of the game that I could explore and attract. And that is why I keep saying women and children. It was because of that angle. Of course, because pork joints offer meat and fat, and you never really know what you're going to get. Women don't like the fat. So I'm trying to offer a product that one is not fatty, but as almost lean, because you always have to leave some bit of fat, but as lean as possible, as tender as possible, meaning that despite the different, when you explore the sinews of meat and pork, how it is shaped around the leg, how it's shaped around the back, there are different points and there are different ways to cook them if you understand them, and you can also prepare them differently. So I am looking at that such that I can always ensure that whichever part of the pig you're going to eat, you're not going to have to pull to achieve that. You can maximize a pig quite well. So of course, chicken is also there as an offer. At the moment when I started the business, I found it interesting that actually people want chicken and pork on the same plate, which I was like, oh, wonderful. So of course now that makes it even more interesting because chicken is very tender. Will the pork compete quite well? And usually people prefer the pork to the chicken, even if the chicken is also very well flavored. So I kind of feel confident that I'm going the right direction. The men already appreciate pork. So they will come to me regardless. The men will come, I'm hoping. So far, the clients I've got, 70% are men. But the women really appreciate it. So I'm beginning to, I am sure down the road, much as I'm saying I'm targeting women, I'm not saying that men are put aside. I just know men already love pork. They will come where good pork is. But how can I attract the women, and how do women feel comfortable sharing with their kids? That means they have to ensure that it is the sanitary, my cleanliness has to be exceptional. I have to make sure the pork is well done all the time, always. That way women feel confident. Give my children pork as well. And that is how I have shaped my model around women and children.
That is very, very interesting. That reminds me of a Mputa place I saw just the other day on my way from Tulampelero towards Kawempe side, Matuga. The guy has a Mputa butchery, and next to him is a nice tiled white room with nice chairs and tables. It looks like a place that bougie people go to. I think he's also targeting women because the place is really nice and clean and sanitary. So now, those are two places I have to visit. That Mputa place with the wife and James's pork place. I think my wife will take me there. Good idea, James.
Yeah, but if you approve of it, Mark, then it means that I'm doing something right. That's what I was hoping.
I just wanted to add on to what Moses asked about the business plan. I made a business plan before I started my Kiyungu, and I think one thing that it does help you with is direction. It avoids you from venturing into things that you have not broken down clearly. It gives you the sense of direction of, okay, I can do this, or no, I cannot do this. It also helps you study the things that you say you cannot do, and maybe you end up adding them into business plan. That's why I said I have, but it needs updating. So it needs you to be able to update it, I think, every 2 years or every 3 years. So yes, a business plan is really, really important. It gives you direction, and then it also helps you to meet your targets. If you said the business plan for this year, my target is about 1,000 clients, are you even halfway that number? And what can you do to get to that number? Or if you have hit your target, then of course that is an achievement. And then what item in your plan, or what item specifically in the kitchen that helped you get to those clients, and how can you pull all the other items along to say next year your target is 2,000 clients. So yes, a business plan is really, really important. Back to you.
Thank you for sharing, James and Mark and Tuti and Babla. Anyway, we are coming to an end ideally to this. Let us wind up, closing remarks, blah, 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 and find out who's saying what the next time. And yeah, it has been recorded, I'm sure, by Abid. Progress, small progress. I'm sorry about Pablo's granny, but I would also like to have feedback on the pork thing we're supposed to have been doing the last time. Does anyone have a clue? Because if we don't also revisit the last week's things, the plans and the timelines that we had on that, this would all be for like nothing really.
I
Yes,
don't
when
have
I'm talking to myself.
that. I can ask him later and see. Or I'll reach out to Jean directly and see if he has any discussion with Pablo. If not, then maybe we can get somebody else to take lead on this in case Pablo is otherwise held up.
Mm-hmm.
I will do
Okay.
that today.
Next week, who's giving us the throwback?
But I think the topic we can still continue with the customer, because we started with one direction and went in another. So I think that's still fine. We can just continue still with customer service and customer expansion.
Okay.
Tuti, do you want to moderate?
No, thank you, Abid.
But now
You fear English?
Okay, I would say I would moderate, only that I have a timetable that is a bit weird, but yeah, I can have someone that we can do together. I think I can do it with you, yes? Abid?
Hello? Network. Hello? Network?
Abid, you have network. Abid, you have network.
A bit now, eh?
It's okay. I'll moderate.
No, but I would definitely, okay, we'll do it together. In case I'm not able to come in on time, I'll definitely have my template of what I've written down. So yeah, I think we can definitely do it. But then what I wanted us to also put, I don't know when we can discuss this, is how to correct a mistake in catering.
What do you mean correct a mistake?
Like the food was spoiled, or and you didn't know, or let me see. Yeah, those things, such things.
Food was spoiled.
And you didn't know.
Happened to me.
So that's why.
No.
James, as with you.
I see Charles has raised his hand.
Yes. Okay. So what Tuti said was actually something very beautiful about how service providers should actually be able to learn or understand how the food mistakes are actually handled. Because I personally, I have been on the wrong side of food receipt these days. Actually, this time. So yeah, I would really be glad if someone actually handled that situation and we found a way of actually handling that situation.
Kawa.
Hi, Walker. I didn't know you were here.
Hi, Tuti. I miss you too.
I don't miss you.
Walker is the only person able to
I'm sure you do.
This is not the forum, eh?
No, but yes, I do.
So, Rose? Sorry, talking too much. But there's a book I read once. Don't try this at home. It was just chef mistakes. Like they got about 20 of the top leading chefs, Michelin-starred chefs from all over America, Europe, and Asia, and they talked about their experiences, their worst experiences in the kitchen. It was actually a very nice book for me. It helped me to recalibrate because they gave their kitchen disasters. Maybe we could also have a session where we talk about kitchen disasters and
yes.
Yeah,
I think everyone to share one of their worst kitchen experience before we dive into, how to deal with them.
Yeah, maybe we can start with that next time.
I thought we were continuing with customer.
Yeah, it's part of the customer service.
Okay. It's part of the customer service.
Okay, so are we going to share our experiences on the platform, or we have to share them during the meeting next week?
I think let's do that during the meeting next week.
Okay, Ale.
All right, thank you.
Moses, where are you running?
I don't know.
It is.
It's time.
How big is your pocket?
Very small. Are you planning on filling it? Who was that talking about my pocket?
That's why I'm asking how deep your pocket is. You can give us a starting point.
Okay, you guys later. See you on the group.
Okay, I think this meeting is over.
Because you can stop at Aiga, buy
Clearly,
something, or you
this
can
meeting is
go to
over.
All right, guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.